I want to tell you my story, how everything began, how I became a monster. I am, well, more like I was, an average 16-year-old girl. My name is Samantha, but everyone called me Sam. I lived in England, in a small town named Tunbridge, with my family, 2 brothers, 1 sister, mother and father. We had no problems, and I was an average kid in school. I didn't get picked on, but I wasn't popular either. I wanted to study psychology, but it never came to this. One day, my friend Sophie called me and asked me if I would come over tonight. I agreed and was happy to see her. At 8 p.m., I stood in front of her door and rang the doorbell. She opened the door immediately, pushed me into the house and hugged me. "I am so happy to see you," she said with a smile while she took my hand. I followed her into the living room as her parents came in. "So, we're going to leave you 2 alone now. Don't go to bed too late. Have fun," said her mother, friendly as always, while her husband Jim remained silent, as always. I didn't trust Sophie's father. He was so quiet, with a dark aura. Sophie and I watched some horror movies, some really odd ones. They gave me the chills and I didn't even want to go alone to the toilet. Sophie laughed because I was so scared. "What's the matter? Are you afraid that the boogeyman is going to visit you?" she said and giggled like the teenage girl she was. "I'm not afraid. I'm just tired, that's all," I nearly whispered. She giggled again. "Yeah, sure." After the movies, we decided to go to bed. I slept in Sophie's room on the floor, and Sophie slept in her bed. Something woke me up in the middle of the night. It was some noise I couldn't define. "Sophie?" I whispered. No answer. "Sophie!" I whispered again, just a bit louder. She grunted from her sleep. "Did you hear that noise too?" What noise?" "Sam, stop. You know you can't scare me." She smiled with a tired expression in her face. "No, I'm not joking. I heard some noise from downstairs." I stood up while saying that. "I want to know what that was. Be right back." "Yeah, do that," she said with a yawn and turned over. I walked downstairs. Everything was dark. I felt my way down. Suddenly, I felt something weird. It felt like a cat, but I knew my best friend didn't have a cat. I couldn't move and it was hard to breathe. Then the light came on and the thing I felt wasn't there anymore. The only thing I felt right now was something dripping down to my feet. Sophie came down. "What is taking you so?" "Oh my God," she screamed as she looked at my face. I ran to a mirror and saw it. 4 scars. Blood dripping down my mouth. 2 of them were carved into a smile. The other 2 looked like a doll's mouth. I was in shock. I couldn't move. Sophie called the ambulance and the cops. I don't know why, but I ran out of my friend's house. "Sam, wait!" Sophie screamed, but I didn't listen. I ran deep into the woods until my legs gave up and made a loud crack noise as I fell to the ground and hit my head on a piece of wood. Everything went black. I woke up near a lake. I crawled to the edge of the water and saw my own reflection. My eyes went big. I stared directly into a pale white face with 4 scars, completely green eyes and black hair, and covered in dried blood. I looked next to me and saw a blood-covered knife. Where did this come from? The longer I stared at it, the more I had the feeling it was mine, and I would use it. So, this fucking knife had me in its band. I wanted blood. I wanted to kill. And nothing would have stopped me. I wandered through the streets at night to search for victims. I found a young man, maybe in his 20s, kissing his girlfriend goodbye, but I didn't care. I hid behind a tree and watched him walking slowly down the empty street with his headphones in. This was a good chance. He wouldn't even hear me. I slowly walked up behind him. I took my knife out of my pocket and was ready to attack him. Closer, closer. I whispered, "Shh, it will hurt just a little bit." I rammed my blade between his shoulders. He screamed and fell to the floor. He made his last moves, then his head sank lifeless into his puddle of blood. I felt an overwhelming power streaming through my body. It was his soul. I stood emotionless there until I heard a loud scream. The young man's girlfriend looked at me with a terrified expression. I realized what I did and ran away. I ran as fast as my legs allowed me to. I stopped when I was in the woods again. I stood there, breathless and scared. What happened to me? What happened in Sophie's house? What the hell is going on? I took my knife out of my hoodie and stared at it. It was like the knife was the problem, like it wanted me to kill people. I can never go back home again. I can never see my best friend again. I fell into my knees and started crying. What have I become? I am a monster. So this is the beginning of my story. I am not Sam anymore. I am the soulless doll. Shh. It will hurt just a little bit.